dystopian future we've seen on screen so many times over the years, where people need to travel through space and time to find habitable planets or shrink themselves down to 5 inches tall to combat overpopulation, is starting to seem less and less like a figment of Hollywood's imagination.
Welcome back to Global Goals Studio. You were just watching Matt Damon at the first ever Bloomberg Green Festival, where he and others called for urgent climate action. This is the Global Goals Studio, and right now we're probing about perilous intersections of business and climate. Let me go with you, Mrs. Ceci. We're seeing that green bonds are giving consumers and investors some positive places to put their money into. Can you tell us who is participating in this market? Who are the issuers and who are the investors?
Certainly. Thank you, Chica, for having me. Certainly, the green bond market began with multilateral development banks, tremendous leadership early on, but it then further expanded into government agencies, to banks, corporates. Most recently, we've seen some transactions from Visa, Alphabet, Burberry, and all around the world. We've seen tremendous participation. They're quite active. Certainly some of the very vocal supporters are the large asset managers, Amundi, BlackRock, PIMCO, Nuveen, very, very active in the space, as well as the asset owners, which are driving that, which are pension funds and insurance companies.
Stefano Boeri, if I could turn to you. You're taking green quite literally, creating buildings that incorporate trees into their structure, for example. Can this idea grow from being a sort of metaphor or individual examples into a whole movement for architecture and urban planning?
Well, if we could concentrate all what is city in one part of the planet, we will not cover more than 3% of the emerging lands. But this huge metropolitan environment is responsible for the 75% of the CO2 present in our atmosphere. So that's the reason I think we had to do our best to, let's say, make our city not simply the protagonist and the victim of climate change, but the protagonist of a kind of new region where thanks to the presence of trees, plants, basically forests around inside the city, we really could do something to tackle climate change, to down global warming. I believe that forestry, urban forestry is the most, let's say, efficient, less expensive and inclusive way to tackle climate change.
Paul Polman, coming to you again, where should activists, CEOs and companies direct their resources to achieve real results so the world can meet these SDGs?
I think where Marilyn and Stefano come together, and I think some of the answers have been given, but the first thing is all of the CEOs would be well advised to look at their business models across their total value chain and reduce emissions with a special focus, obviously, on climate. That is a must, and companies that do that will be so much the better for it. The second area, I would say, is to enhance or restore nature. We need to go back to a regenerative thinking, and increasingly we see companies like Microsoft or Danone or Natura or Unilever, my former company, making strong commitments on actually restoring nature, the cheapest solution actually, as Stefano is saying. And then thirdly, we need to ensure as activist CEOs, that we ensure a just transition. All of this at the end of the day is not about climate change or restoring nature. These are means to an end. The ultimate goal is that we create an environment, a society that is more inclusive, where we don't have the levels of inequality that we see, where we don't leave people behind, and where we also ensure that whatever we do, future generations can also benefit from this. So keep people, especially the ones left behind that suffer most from COVID and other things, squarely in front.
Okay, we're going to take another short break. Please stay with us. You're watching the Global Goals Studio.
When I first came to TFI, it was safe to say that I was a very closed-minded inner city kid.
You definitely feel that you are making an impact on someone's life.
Mentors are instrumental for me. I was always looking for ways to give back because without mentors, I don't know what I would do.
Among these men, there may be a General Powell, a Mayor Bloomberg, and Albert Einstein.
Coming here has shifted my lens, my perception on the world, and has changed who I am.
We're grateful to have partners like JPMorgan stepping up to meet the challenge. These are our future leaders, the kids in this room.
Things are serious when it comes to your education, because a diploma can get you somewhere.
I feel like without TFI, I would have been doomed. I wouldn't even apply for college, to be honest.
I'm going to be a first-generation graduate that goes to college. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
One of the biggest things I learned was definitely the importance of diversity of experience and ideas.
Get out of your comfort zone, because at some point in life you have to, and there's no backing out of it. Sometimes you just gotta go.
I'd like to especially congratulate the young men. You're the ones who did it. You're the ones who stuck with it. You're the ones who didn't quit. You're the ones who came to believe in yourselves perhaps more than you did when you started the program.
It gave me a different perspective of life, a different perspective of my goals and where life could take me.
I've learned to never judge a book by its cover. People don't have to be from your situation to understand you.
TFI really said, if you think this is the baseline, you have to raise your expectations. And I'm so thankful for the program.